It was all about the quarterbacks in Prime's media availability yesterday. And that was, I guess, the funniest reaction that you got out of Deion. But most of that day was Deion talking about how you've jumped the gun. We don't really know who's actually the starting quarterback, although Ryan Staub is going to get what we assume to be the starters reps this week in Houston. He was the best quarterback, and you have gone on about over the last couple of days, rightfully so. He stepped in and was the reason why you pulled away from what was a scarier Delaware team than you anticipated. Is Deion getting ornery with the media over the quarterbacks because he's nervous about this new landscape where kids can just leave whenever they want the next year, where he has to look? I don't think he really, I'm not going to say he doesn't care about Caden Salter. It's very clear that Deion cares deeply about the player and the human beings that he recruits to Colorado. I don't believe his level of concern of Caden Salter's unhappiness anywhere near rivals the level of concern that he has over JuJu Lewis's happiness. Is he being upset with the media because don't start making this a thing because I don't want to lose my 5-star recruit?
That plays into it. Yeah, I think there's also the level of sensitivity that you may have. I remember at CU, it's very different, but in 2022, we started Brennan Lewis and rotated JT Shrout, who was a transfer from the University of Tennessee, a quarterback that had a fairly large recruiting profile. In reality, neither one of those two players were anywhere near being good enough for our team to compete at a high enough level. Ironically, our best guy was our third guy, who happened to be a true freshman, and that was Owen McCown, son of actually current Minnesota Vikings quarterback coach, also a quarterback whisperer, Josh McCown. Played in the NFL until he was like 49 years old, seemed like. And it was not an easy thing. So while it's you start thinking about it could become public, it's embarrassing. It's almost shameful to have the third guy become the starting quarterback if you're the first or second guy going into the year. They were both going to see time. But the reality of the situation is college football, high school football, certainly the NFL, man, the entire thing is set up around meritocracy. Who's the best player? Who gives you the best chance to win?
Hold on. Is or was? Is it still set up as a meritocracy? Or was it set up as a meritocracy?
What do you want? What are you trying to get accomplished if you're a head coach?
You want
trying to win?
You want to win football games.
Then it is a meritocracy. Because I can promise you this, Ryan Staub, his NIL piggy bank is probably 1/25th the size of JuJu Lewis's and probably 1/20th the size of Caden Salter. So yeah, it is a meritocracy because when those two don't deliver, which they didn't, that offense felt like it was just stuck in mired in mediocrity. Raj, it was 10-7 really at halftime against Delaware in your own building.
Which at this point in their new journey after being elevated it's still an FCS team.
Raj, that would have been embarrassing for us in 2022. Unfortunately, we didn't play. You want to know who our cupcake games were that year? At Minnesota, at Air Force, who won 11 games that year, home against TCU, who played in the national championship game. Those were our three cupcake games.
That's not fun.
And then our conference consisted of Michael Penix Jr., Bo Nix, and Caleb Williams. Sweet. That sounds like a lot of fun. I would have loved to have played the Blue Hens, man. Would have been great. Promise you it wouldn't have been 10-7. It might have been. But that was an offense that was stuck in neutral. And Coach Prime was like, dude, this isn't good. This sucks. You know what Coach Prime hasn't dealt with a whole lot in his career? An incompetent offense that can't move the ball down the field. Why is that? Because every single step of the way, who's been his quarterback?
Shedeur Sanders.
And he, at the very least, creates explosive plays. There might be some downside to it, but does it ever seem like a Shedeur Sanders-led offense when he's your quarterback is just 3-and-out fest or punt fest.
No, it's chaos, but you always felt as though you never felt like Colorado was out of a game. Even if they're like, even in the Kansas game where Devin Neal was just running wherever he wanted. The defense couldn't stop a damn thing. They're still in the football game. Shedeur and Travis can do something here. I didn't feel that way. And the sample size is very small, obviously, going through 2 weeks. I did not feel that way about Caden Salter in week 1. I did not feel that way about JuJu Lewis in his limited reps in the first half in week 2. But I do wonder, part of the Deion allure is it's the Louis. It's the excitement, the 4, the 5-star, big name and light recruits.
And that's why Ryan Staub wasn't in the top 2 of the depth chart going into the year.
Of course, but if you play him, what does that do to the other side of the equation?
Well, now it's become kind of a story that's fun. People like it. It's like this Ryan Staub, it's the rags to riches
and it's
type
not like,
of a storyline.
And it's not like Ryan Staub is the type of player that you go, hey, JuJu, you're going to sit for a year because then Ryan's out of here. Ryan's a sophomore.
He's got 3 years, including the remainder of this year.
Ryan's a sophomore. If he's the starter, he doesn't have to go anywhere. And then JuJu Lewis is gone. So you've lost your 5-star quarterback recruit. But in the meantime, you have gotten better with your starter. I just wonder if it affects recruiting for that marquee position.
This exact scenario played out at my alma mater, and I won't bore people with Boise State football talk, but there was a 5'9.5" quarterback. If you watched the college football playoff last year, you saw Maddox Madsen. He beat out who is now the current starter at the University of Arkansas, Taylon Green. 6'5", incredible athlete, looks the part, runs the part, highlight-worthy plays.
Terrible team around him.
But Maddox Madsen played his way into starting over that guy. He's not sexy. He's not appealing. Well, then the next year, what does Boise State do? They go out and pay big money to get USC transfer Malachi Nelson, a 5-star. Basically the JuJu Lewis of the 2024, I believe, recruiting class. Might have been 23 recruiting class. He ends up coming to Boise State, and the 5'9", 2-3-star recruit from Utah at some Pleasant Grove High School or something along those lines, he ends up beating out your 5-star daddy. Everybody's like, no, we got to play this guy? Well, the guy that won the job ended up leading them to a college football playoff appearance. Now, the reality is Ashton Jeanty led him to that appearance. But this is going to happen more and more with this NIL world. The portal world is as you start making these acquisitions about, with big money to go out and get either a big name quarterback out of the high school ranks or what more people are starting to go towards, a proven commodity as a college starting quarterback, which is what Caden Salter is.
A vet.
That's what more people are doing. The JuJu Lewis 5-star comes in with all the hype. Maybe he's a little bit eccentric. Maybe he's carts before the horse with the social media presence and all that. And then they end up not panning out. Dude, that's a dime a dozen. That's so common now. Like, I would be shocked if JuJu Lewis is here next year. Because it's so common, Raj. These recruiting services aren't very good at their jobs, man. They get caught up in early offers. They get caught up in the marketing piece. I don't think that JuJu Lewis, the reality of who he is anywhere near what the hype was building him out to be. And that's okay. That happens a lot, man. We talked about it yesterday. Happened with Nico Iamaleava. Happened with DJ Uiagalelei. And I just nailed 2 incredible Polynesian pronunciations right there. Do you want me to just throw out a Tua Tagovailoa just to keep going? Is there any more Polynesians you want me to hit? This is happening so frequently, it's almost concerning. These guys are going from level to level, and they end up going to UTEP, just like Malachi Nelson did, where they're the starter and they're just average.
Does Deion have the pull? Because it doesn't feel like a lot of coaches have the pull right now to have a 4 or a 5-star recruit sit for a year or two behind a starter.
That's a setup.
Does he have? I do truly wonder that, right? With all of these younger quarterbacks leaving because you don't have the penalty of having to sit out a year.
The answer to that is no.
Does anybody have that pull?
No, because these guys have the cart is before the horse, and it's so far.
Kirby Smart doesn't have that pull right now. Does Dabo?
Where's Carson Beck playing right now?
Good point. Well, Carson Beck had one more year.
Right, but still, he's playing at Miami. The problem with in this generation is that these players who have been hyped their whole lives, whose parents are obsessed with getting their name to the point of national stardom before they've even taken a dang college snap, is that these players and their families get in their feelings when all of a sudden Ryan Staub, the 2-3 star that idiot Mike Sanford recruited, the guy that was acquiring anything but Louis, that's not Louis. I'm Louis. And he's playing over me?
No, he's a
the frick out of
Ryan
here.
Staub is, you know what Ryan Staub is? Or again, we haven't seen a lot out of Ryan Staub. You've seen way more than anybody else at this point, right? A kid that you recruited. We haven't seen a lot out of him on the football field. Ryan Staub's a JanSport backpack, man.
I said he was
never
American.
Get old.
I thought he was American tourister, but
6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
What's the other one? Land's Edge?
Sure.
Land's End.
LL Bean.
LL Bean, yes.
Great one.
Yeah, really
Does it
good.
look sexy? You know what it does? Gets the job done. It stays good for 22 years.
Yep.
I still have an LL Bean that I got when I was 16 years old. You know what it's holding right now? All my winter clothes.
It's a great backpack.
It's a great backpack. Yeah, he's a JanSport. He's one of those things. Sometimes you need that. But is a JanSport good enough to continue to get 4- and 5-star recruits from sexy positions? Is a JanSport backpack at quarterback good enough to get another Jordan Seaton?
Yes, because you're still Coach Prime. You're still Coach Prime. That's one thing I didn't have going for me, right? I was still Mike Sanford, which is like, who's that guy?
Here's Prime at the beginning of his presser yesterday.
There was a report by Pete Thamel that Ryan Staub is the expected starter against Houston. Are you able to confirm that?
I'm not confirming nothing to y'all. Y'all know that. We ain't like that. We good. We have capable guys. Staub has been doing a phenomenal job doing and getting the majority of the reps, but I haven't made that assessment or decision yet.
Hi, Coach.
You know, in today's media, we don't care about being correct anymore. We just want to be first. And there's no subjection to you when you're wrong. Nobody says nothing. You just go with it. I'm not saying that's the case, but that's where we are in media. Nobody gives a darn about being correct and being right. Everybody just want to be first. That don't make no sense to me. I would love the integrity that we once had with media. I would love that. I got time today.
Will Pete be correct on Friday night?
Yes.
So why even say that? You're not going after the media there. All you are doing is trying to protect JuJu.
Yes. This is correct.
I'm not making the decision. It's still up for grabs. He's 17 years old. He threw the ball, 6 times.
Yeah, Eric here from the Shot Mazda text line asked the question. I appreciate this, Eric. So after 4 throws, Coach, from a 17-year-old, you're already out on him. No, I'm not.
I'm out on him right now.
Yeah.
To be the starter on Friday.
I also have some semblance of information about how Ryan Staub has been competing and looking when given a chance. And all you got to do is just read some tea leaves from the past 2 years. Anytime that a question about Ryan Staub was asked of Pat Shurmur, he would start smiling and cite how good he is in the meeting room. He's the first guy that and this is when Shedeur was there at CU. He was the first guy to spit out an answer to a question. What kind of read is this? Oh, it's an across-the-board alert post read. The guy loves football. And did we see on Friday, or excuse me, it was Saturday, wasn't it?
Saturday.
Did we see on Saturday against Delaware in an offense that just felt like it had no life to it? Ryan Staub's not just a guy that is like a mentally locked in quarterback that's a butt kisser, an Eddie Haskell. Ryan Staub uncorked the football and launched it down the field. he's got talent as well. And all he needed was an opportunity to show that talent. He got it one time against the University of Utah in 2023, and he fared well. That was a true freshman year on a team that was basically going nowhere fast at the end of that 2023 year. All of the hype of the TCU win to start the season, the CSU come from behind overtime victory, all of that had kind of worn off a little bit. Shedeur was banged up. The team was banged up. The defense was atrocious. A lot of things were going wrong. I thought Ryan Staub went in and played admirably. What he didn't get until Delaware game right before halftime was a chance to go play meaningful competitive football. What he did with it is he woke up a sleeping giant. And that's why I'm excited about CU Buffs football right now. I wasn't excited about CU football, Raj. That's just a reality. If Caden Salter or JuJu Lewis, just my opinion, I'm not saying those guys are buns. I'm not saying they're bad football players. I had zero tangible excitement about watching that offense after 6 quarters of data. Now I'm excited to go watch CU Buffs football.
Friday against Houston, 5.5-point dogs on the road. ESPN is where you can watch that game.